Acrocanthosaurus atokenesis, meaning high-spined lizard from atoka, was a large carcharodontosaur that lived in North America during the late Cretaceous. This well-known giant was named partly from its highly placed neural spines, which may have been used to store fat, extra muscle, or were used for display purposes. And while its fossils are recognized for these multiple neural spines, its appearances across media like Ark Survival Ascended or Dinosaur King confuse what this animal actually was, portraying it as a violent beast that was only challenged by other similarly misunderstood animals, which is why I'm making this video. I'm here to give you an overview of this dinosaur's lifestyle, hunting habits, along with some less recognized physical features and facts. Another note to add on to this was that most predators this size likely used different hunting tactics throughout its life, which is why I think that if an adult Acrocanthosaurus grouped up with other acros, they would choose others the same size to keep a coordinated hunting strategy. Its habits over its life would have most likely consisted of either trailing and attacking large sauropod herds during the cool night and resting during the heat of the day, attacking the smaller, weaker sauropods, providing food for its children when they are small, and slowly integrating them into hunts as they get older. Which brings us to the next section of the video, hunting habits. Like I mentioned before, throughout each stage of its life, Acrocanthosaurus had different hunting strategies, mostly depending on variables like weight, environment, prey availability, and prey diversity. Weight is a major factor throughout its life, as it needs to strike an even balance to tank hits, but still be light enough to swiftly take down or lock on to prey. Another factor that comes into play is environment. Most of the time, Acrocanthosaurus hunted in forests, which helped to conceal them during ambush hunts, but we must remember that the cover the forest brings works both ways, which is why Acrocanthosaurus evolved highly developed eyes used for spotting small details that give away prey's position. And just as forests give cover for hunting acros, it can be a hindrance for smaller acros that use fast and direct hunting strategies, concealing prey behind thick foliage. But even with all this said, the environment to hunt prey doesn't matter if there is no prey to hunt, which brings us to our next major factor, prey availability. Acrocanthosaurus was beyond a doubt a giant theropod that grew up to an estimated maximum of 38 feet and 7 tons, which requires a large amount of medium prey or a steady stream of large prey, but like many things in nature, nothing is guaranteed. And a forest won't always be the optimal place to find food, which is why sometimes places like large open grasslands are the best places to find wealths of food. You might be asking yourself what I mean by this. Food is never guaranteed, and staying in one place decreases the odds of finding food. So, like many predators, Acrocanthosaurus had no strict hunting biome, and we have found many fossils in larger plains, which so happen to be near other fossilized herds of sauropods, leading to the theory that Acrocanthosaurus followed large herds of sauropods, taking out the weak and old, or forming packs and taking down large, healthy individuals, which leads to the main point. Predators need to move, and moving leads to different types of prey. Now we can get to the second part of this section, prey diversity. Prey diversity is extremely important for many reasons, with the main one being that if one species of predator hunts exclusively one prey, two things will happen. The first scenario will be that the prey will be hunted to extinction, leading to gaps in environmental rules, and causing a cascading effect of disturbing an ecosystem's food chain. Or the second outcome would be that the prey becomes increasingly weary and forms stronger defenses, starving the predator without food it preys on. And without a natural apex predator, life grows rampant, eventually depleting food that the prey needs. Now, why does this apply to Acrocanthosaurus? Like we have discussed earlier, Acrocanthosaurus were built to and did hunt large prey like Sauroposeidon. But like any predator animal, it was likely not a specialist, meaning it couldn't feed specifically on any animal. It needed a mixed diet. So what else did it hunt? Well, that would be none other than hadrosaurs and ornithopods, which it found while either tracking sauropod herds or came across while hunting in its home territory, giving it a wider meal range. Now that we know how it hunted, and what it hunted, let's get into its physical features and what utensils it used to hunt. If there is one thing that this predator shines in, it is physical power. This predator, like many of its other relatives, had shark-like serrated teeth with a bite force of over 3 tons, easily crushing bone and tearing skin. One special physical feature that made this big fella stand out were its arms, because while its arms were still short, they were highly developed and muscular, with long, sharp claws used for grappling with prey either before or after its first strike to keep its leverage on the prey. To go along with this special physical feature, its body was stocky and built for brute forcing its way through any situation. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do we know all this? Well, that's the neat part, because the fossils we've found are mostly complete, with the most complete fossil being an Acrocanthosaurus fossil found in Oklahoma's Antler Formation. These fossils consist of a complete skull, forelimbs, and half a complete cervical vertebrae. Okay, I know this is a bit of an abrupt ending, and I was keeping to a script the whole time. That's probably why this is so bad. This is subject to editing later on, so if this sounds a bit weird, just take it as me edit. But the purpose of this video is sort of for me to just sort of spread information, I guess. I like talking about dinos, as you can tell. This is literally a channel dedicated to dinosaurs. You know, and if people like me, you know, just like talking about dinosaurs, you know, why not try to get monetized while doing it? Which is sort of why I have a goal, you know. If I get monetized, it's whatever. If I don't, it's also whatever. Like, it'd just be nice to also make money while I'm doing something I enjoy, you know? But the other goal, you know, which is a bit out there considering my first video, this video, is not too long, but it is my first video. I plan on making, you know, longer ones. It's just, I had no clue how long a script, like, I didn't know how long this script was going to be, so I just sort of lowballed it and said, you know what, a 5-minute script's probably pretty good. But it's like, if you want me to, you guys can always just comment like a video idea, and I'll do it. Like, literally, I'm that small, like, obviously. And I guess the third reason would be, at some point, I do want to get some of my favorite YouTubers, like Internet City, Simba the God, Yo-Yo, Joe Bart, and maybe even Casual Geographic to react to my videos, because I would love to see just my favorite YouTubers watching something I created. And I would also love to see other people from these like YouTubers want to learn about these magnificent creatures. Like, seriously, I think in the modern age, while we do have a bunch of activists and a bunch of, you know, stuff, there's not enough people that truly get the majesty of these creatures, even if we can't see them alive. We have modern living examples like birds, crocodiles. You know, we have such amazing opportunities in life. We literally can bend the world. Well, sort of. We can sort of bend the world to our, you know, will. And we choose to take that for granted. So I just want to educate you guys about the modern world, whether it be prehistoric animals, modern and prehistoric animals. I have a crocodile video coming up that should be longer than this by a good amount. It should be, if this is 5 minutes, at least triple that, considering how much information I've already put into it. But that's really it. I couldn't care less if I got monetized or if I just, like, stayed at 44 subscribers. I really couldn't care. Because at the end of the day, I just want, at least, if I can make a difference to one person out there, and, you know, help them realize the majesty of these creatures, these animals that, you know, still do live and breathe among us. And, you know, if I can get one more person, you know, to help the world, help clean the oceans, and, you know, help nature, then why not give it a shot, you know? But anyway, that was my little nerd rant, you know. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Even if you don't like, even if you don't subscribe, even if you don't comment, which I'd love it if you do. If you do one thing, right, please just comment, like, you know, maybe some tips on what I can and can't do, or what I should do, and, you know, maybe even like a video suggestion, like what animal I should do next, you know? But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. This was my first long form video.